guys, we have a seriously leaking faucet and we need to go ahead and take care of it. All right. As you can see, these things are torqued down as tight as they'll go. And it's been leaking for a while, but with a lot less flow than that. And it just got worse. So we have to fix it. So, first things first. Remove the cap. Oh, before we do that, we suspect that it's the hot side. The water is warm. So before you remove the cap, and almost messed that up, we have to go in, and this is another way of double checking which side is leaking. We have to go underneath the sink, and we're going to turn off the hot water. So we're going to pull this out to stop. And it is in fact our hot water side leaking. So I had to go on Amazon, and we've had it off for the whole week until we got the part in. So here we go, first things first. This is what we have to replace. And this is called a cartridge. All right, so we went to Amazon and got it, and you gotta make sure you got the right part. And I'll show you when I take the old one out. So, cap off. Phillips head screwdriver. Lift it off. And this is the screw that's inside of there. Set that aside. And this is our cylinder that is bad. Before we take it off, we have to remove this retaining ring that's holding it down and in place. So, big pair of pliers. And loosen the ring. So, a couple of things I need to make clear. You have to make sure when you put the old, or when you put the new cylinder in or the new cartridge in, this metal part has a flat face. And you have to make sure you put that flat face pretty much exactly how it is right here. And it's going to make your tap point in that direction. So that's kind of important to remember. Second thing you want to remember is this is another ring that's under this copper ring. And you have to make sure this is in place. There's a notch down here for it. You have to make sure it's in place when you put this stuff back on. Okay. We already loosened up this ring with our big pliers. Unscrew. And that's all you need to take off. Okay. Next is our cartridge. And since I already did this before, I actually did a dry run. I kind of cheated. I could probably use my hand to take this out, or you could just grab a pair of pliers, maybe a pair of needle nose pliers, or even the big pliers that we had before, and you can pull it on here and yank it out. But I think I could go ahead and use my hand to get it out. Wiggle it out. Okay, so this is what it looks like. All right, another note. Note the red ring, right? There is a hot side cartridge and there's a cold side cartridge. You have to remember to get the cartridge that you need. I don't think they're interchangeable. At least they made sure they're separated on the website. There is a cold one and there's a hot one. The cold one has a blue ring at the bottom. All right, get rid of that. Put it right here so we can see it. And here's our new guy. Okay, a couple things to note. You have to get online and make sure you have exactly the right cylinder. Yours may be a little different depending on what you have at home. But when you buy your cylinder, I recommend you take this out, take the old one out, get online and get a blown up picture and make sure you have exactly the same thing. Notice this white part where the ridge is. So do your due diligence just like you would with any other part and make sure they're exactly the same online, as exact as you could make them in your mind anyway. And we know sometimes when you order the part and they come back in, they're not gonna match. All right, but it is what it is. I lucked out on this one. So old guy goes over here and we get ready to put new guy in. Notice the flat side, and it also has a notch right where my thumb is. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the camera for a second. And notice this notch right here. And this, don't know if you can see it real clearly, goes into that notch. All right, so here's something else I found out. I couldn't get this ring on to save my life when I did it earlier. So what I had to do, I had to make sure, see all this water in here still? You have to make sure you get that out of there. So piece of paper towel, stick it in there, have it sop that water up. Pretty much got all the water out. And that water is gonna act, give this a lot of resistance if it's in there. And you're not gonna get it this cartridge seated down fully. And you won't get this ring on, or it'll be really hard to do it. So make sure you get that water out of there. All right, so let's get this lined up. All right, my flat edge is pointed away. I'm gonna push this down as hard as I can, and hopefully, okay, on the back side, I have to make sure this stays in place. If you can look underneath it, there's a notch that it goes into. So you gotta make sure when you screw this ring on, that this stays in place. All right, so I'll do hand tight. You can feel it catch. And I'll put this back in place. Big pliers back into the game. Okay, looks pretty good. Get my handle back on. I might have called it a tap earlier or something like that. But that's just a handle, of course. Phillips head screw back in. And tighten it back down. Okay, before I go any further and finish up, I'm gonna go back underneath and turn my hot water back on. And if all is well, there should be no water coming out of there. So let's see. Okay. Hot water on, hot water off. And that looks like we fixed it. All right, cool runs. Let's get our cap back on. We gotta do a little cleaning up. I would let my water run a little bit too, because you're gonna, initially when I did this, I had a bunch of rust colored water running out of here. So you might wanna let that run for a minute or two to get clean and clear water running once again. All right, but other than that, that's how we fixed our leaky faucet in my bathroom sink. Good luck.